Test, test.
Night, Tuesday, July 5th, here at the Jefferson County Courthouse. We'll start out with roll call. Justice Fisher.
Here.
Justice Harden.
Here.
Justice Adams.
Here.
Justice Agee. Justice Byrd.
Present.
Justice Carroll.
Here.
Justice Dumas. Justice Gaddy. Justice Daniels. Justice Holcomb.
Here.
Justice Jackson.
Here.
Justice Johnson.
Here.
Justice Reginald Johnson.
Here.
Okay, next we'll have the report of the committees, and we'll start with Public Safety, and that is Justice Conley Byrd.
Thank you, Judge. Public Safety Committee will come to order. We're missing one individual judge. Melanie is not present.
And AG is not present.
Who's not?
AG, so you need to replace.
Oh, I thought Roy was here. I thought I saw him earlier. Okay, so I'll need two appointments. I'd suggest Ted and Danny, if that's all right with you.
Yes.
All right, we have two items of business before us this evening. The first is an appropriation ordinance to appropriate funds to the County General Fund 1000 Sheriff's Office. This is to,
Justice Daniels just walked in. So.
yeah, she wasn't on my committee though. That's money being reimbursed by the DEA.
Mr. Chairman, I move we pass that on to the Finance Committee with a do pass recommendation.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. The motion carries, Judge. The second is an appropriation ordinance to provide a transfer and appropriation from Fund 3405911 CMRS to Fund 3403 Mecca.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Judge, that concludes the public safety meeting.
Thank you, Justice Byrd. Next, we'll have the Human Resources, and that's Justice Cedric Jackson.
You got somebody missing.
Judge, I got two missing on the committee. Miss Dumas and AG.
Okay. Who you want to replace him with?
Yeah. Everybody looking off. I guess I get Miss Johnson and Ted.
Okay.
All right, Judge. On the agenda, I have a resolution for the Quorum Court of Jefferson County, Arkansas, approving Sheriff Fire Department, absorbing the Wright Pastoral and Fire Department.
Move for adoption.
Second.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a
Hold on. I got a motion, second, questions?
yeah, I'd like to make a substitute motion that we table this and let Eddie Anderson, who is the fire chief, speak to it. He's here.
I would also like time to speak before the court, please.
That's fine.
Point of order. Yeah. Point of order is that that it needs to be a second to the substitute motion.
Yeah, I got a motion on the floor.
Second.
I got a motion second. Questions? It's time to vote. All in favor by saying?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to ask Mr. Anderson to speak to it,
Oh, okay. I thought you said later.
if he'd like to speak to it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know I was here in the last meeting and asked for y'all to step in and do something. I come back again tonight to, the ball was rolling. The first department that Wright went to, the chief gave them a ultimatum of getting a letter of intent within 24 hours so he can start getting the ball rolling on his end. They didn't go with that. Then they went to Sherrill Fire Department and they come to an agreement for them to absorb the whole thing. And I'm not here to keep trying to stir stuff up, but my biggest thing is I don't want one of our departments to get in a bind, almost doubling their district and all the stuff that is going to happen that comes along with taking care of the apparatus and the different things.
Mr. Chairman, point of order, Mr. Chairman. Is he speaking to the motion to table?
No, it wasn't a motion to table.
They confirm?
It was not a motion to table.
Exactly, it was. Ted made a motion.
I made the motion, Alfred. Alfred's right, I did make the motion that we tabled, and it was seconded.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I thought we debating the motion to table.
No, it's already been motion second. Hold on. He speak, right? He's speaking now.
There was a motion made to table and second. In the comment section was, he was speaking to the fact of why it should be tabled, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
And may I ask, table to when?
Talking to me?
Table till
Who has their
when?
phone on?
Just, well, let him speak to it and then see it before we make a decision, but table it till next week maybe, at Monday night's meeting.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. I'm totally confused now. I gave a second to a motion to table because I thought the maker of the motion was he knew what he was doing. Now I feel stupid that I gave a second to a motion to table, and the maker of the motion is uncertain about whether we're gonna table it or not based upon what this gentleman said.
Mr. Chairman, I'm not undecided on whether or not.
One more minute to finish what you talk, because I'm.
Right, that's right. I did table to talk to him before we vote on the table.
We got the motion second on both, so let him finish. Go ahead and talk.
I mean, basically, that's what I'm looking at, is I want to make sure everybody, all of our fire departments are capable and nobody overloads themselves and get themselves in a position that puts them in a bind and puts them in trouble.
Sir,
Yes.
so at this point, you're asking us to wait until you get all your information together before we bring this back to the court? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Okay. I was trying to make sure that we were
Yes, sir.
on the same path. Okay.
I mean, I know I'm not the best, I'm not the, there's some ill feelings coming, but I just want to make sure everybody's done right, taken care of.
Mr. Chairman,
May I respond?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, one other person would like to speak to it, if it's sorry with you. Yeah.
Mr. Chair, limited to, yes.
Okay, my name is Jody Campbell. I am the mayor's Cheryl. Mr. Anderson is right. We were approached second to absorb Wright Pastoria District. I understand with Wright that we have ties to that community. My husband and myself, as well as several other people on our fire department and our town. I met with Wright Pastoria at a board meeting for them. You have the notes there before you. And they were in agreement with how I proposed that things would be run, just the way that Cheryl is run, by maintaining equipment, maintaining finances, and chain of command. The department, I do not understand how Wright got into this situation, but I understand maintaining personnel, volunteer personnel, is a big hassle. And we're all looking for people. We have already lined up firefighters that would return to the Wright Pastoria Fire Department if it is absorbed by Cheryl. They have already come to agreement on training, chain of command. There will be someone stationed with the station at Wright that will have access to a fully functioning truck. Cheryl has already done an inventory on the trucks that need to be repaired and what needs to be done, as well as buildings. Yes, we are coming in the middle of this. Cheryl did not seek this, it was approached to us. And we're just trying to make the best of the situation for everybody. Now, as far as spreading ourselves thin, it is my understanding that is what the fire department mutual aid is
Mr. Chair.
for, that if we are.
Time.
Time?
Yeah.
I thank you for your time. I thank you for listening to me. And whatever you do, we'll certainly abide by it. Thank you so much for letting me speak.
All right, we got a motion and we got a second on the table. Is that a question of time to vote? All in favor by saying aye? Any nays?
Nay,
Vote.
because and the reason for the nay is I didn't hear till when. A table till when?
I think I was asked that question, I said till Monday night, before the regular meeting.
Well, that wasn't part of the motion, but if it's
Well, I
made part of the
Made it
motion.
a part of it. When they asked the question, I said, I will make it to that.
But if we table, we gotta bring it back to the committee though.
Right.
Right. So we
Monday night, we can do it Monday night before the meeting.
want to do it next week.
Next meeting.
Come to the committee, not the quorum court.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
We have a committee meeting before the full court meeting.
Mr. Chair, why is it happening? Mr. Chair, can I ask a question? To those persons that spoke, has there been a community meeting, the citizens of those communities?
I met with the current board of Wright Pastoria. These are active people in their community. As well as we met with people that would like to come back to the fire department at that time. And these are also members of that community. Now, as far as having a district-wide meeting, it is almost impossible to get that many people to come to a meeting. Right now, there is currently some meetings going on not pertaining to the fire department that pertain to the water issue. And we have only had less than 5% show up. I had entrusted the board that they would speak with their constituents just as I would speak with my town about the matter, which I also did.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, that's not my district, but certainly if a community meeting is held so that at least people have the opportunity, if they don't show, and we hear what the other people are saying, I would be certainly interested in attending, not to add anything or take anything away, but to know that the community has had a voice.
There were also people from the community that was at that meeting, and you may see on the paperwork where they were those who had attended. There was a community activist and a former firefighter there. So we did have, yes ma'am.
That is my district,
Yes ma'am.
and no one notified me.
Point of order, Ms. Gaddy, Chair has to recognize.
Right, yeah.
She did, she did. No one, notified me. I didn't know anything about the meeting until last week. Well, last time we had a meeting. And I wish someone had notified me. I would have been there. I didn't know anything about it.
Yes ma'am. I had assumed that Right Board had already notified you. If not, I apologize for that. I will certainly notify you of any future community meetings in that area. I have a long-standing tie with that part of Jefferson County, and I do truly want the best for it. Now, I'm not saying that Mr. Anderson is wrong, and I'm not saying that we're wrong. I'm saying that this is going to have to come down to a decision on who has the better vision, I'll say, of this district. Wright Astoria formed their fire department with a board to speak for them, just as most fire departments have a board to speak for them. Cheryl has a board that's also the council.
Mr. Chair.
We got Fisher, and we got these two, and then we're gonna kill this.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A question for Mayor Cheryl. To my understanding, that what I'm hearing is that there is a clerical contract agreement and not just a verbal agreement between
Yes,
the
sir.
two parties that is involved. There
Yes,
is
sir.
paperwork so that when this come back to the court, that we won't be coming back with just a hearsay. She said that there will be some papers presented to this board, that we will have an actual,
Yes, sir.
something tangible that we can look through.
Yes, sir. You have a paper in your packet that contains the minutes of that meeting with the board that I was at. My husband and I were there. We both stepped out to allow that board to discuss privately without our undue influence on them. Because like I said, we have ties to the community, as we do have ties here, that no hard feelings would be generated. And that is still my goal, no hard feelings on anything. We did come to an agreement on how things would be run if Cheryl absorbed Right Astoria, both the financial obligations as well as the equipment obligations. Right now, there is, I believe, only one truck that is in semi-working order. So the first agenda for me would be to have those trucks repaired and up and working. But I'm not saying let's take the fire trucks and move them somewhere else. I'm saying let's leave them in that community so that there is quick response there. That there are people in that community that will respond to fires as well as we will, and I would assume that so would mutual aid.
Thank you.
My question actually got answered with Justice Fisher. But I do want to add the fact that I understand that you have those minutes in there, but the purpose of tabling tonight, and what information do we need to be able to go forward next month?
That's something that's got to be discussed, that we're discussing now. And Mr. Anderson may want to speak. I think someone had their hand up to speak to that. But apparently there's been some confusion about putting the agreement together. the ordinance that we have.
My question is for the mayor. Ma'am, what were your means of letting the community know about your meeting?
We did word of mouth. Like I said, we're tied with the community. So, if y'all are across the river, it's a farming community. So that if we ran into people there, we would say, hey,
Yes,
this is going on. And
I was just curious because Justice didn't know.
yes, I understand that was a failure on the right board.
Yes,
If
ma'am.
I had not known that you would not have been notified, I certainly, Ms. Gaddy and I have worked together before, and Ms. Gaddy will attest that I'm usually pretty OCD about letting things happen in certain orders.
Yes, ma'am. I think a better communication method may be needed here so that everyone will know them.
I do believe it was on the right community page on Facebook. I'm not sure. I'm not control of that page. Let me explain some things that have happened with Cheryl that you will better understand the financial aspects. Cheryl has not received a single grant for anything with our fire department. We have just purchased a 2020 F-350 to do a new brush truck at the cost of $80,000. Now that was paid in cash, paid in full, totally. Now we're talking about being very good stewards with the money that we're entrusted to. Yes I am, I'm just gonna say it. I am bragging on Cheryl. We have 84 people, y'all. 84 people, and if 84 people can save up this much money, my group is pretty well good at financializing things and handling things, and it's not gonna just go willy-nilly and let's do this. We have a priority list, and that is to repair the buildings, repair the trucks, and if sometime down the road, many years, that Wright gets itself together, I'm all in agreement that they should come back and be a part of this. Because they should be the one deciding for their community. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little Sunday here. But they should be the ones deciding what they want to do with their equipment. They put in the years on getting the equipment, working on the equipment. My husband was one of the first members down there at the Wright Fire Department, 30-something years ago. So when I say we have ties and want to see them succeed, I can promise you that. You know, it is for me to be in the, I'm just getting it. I could preach now, I'm telling y'all.
We had a motion, we had a second.
Mr. Chairman, we had one gentleman that had his hand up for about, can he speak?
We got a motion, we got a second. We're gonna table it to the next meeting. We're gonna let Ms. Gaddy to meet with them and for her to come back to the Quorum Court. So, we'll be here talking about all day, so we're gonna let Ms. Gaddy, since that's her district, we're gonna let her have it. So Judge, it was,
That's fine with me.
it was tabled, so it was passed. That's my report.
Thank you, Justice Jackson. Next, we'll
Did we
have,
vote on the table?
Did we vote on that?
We didn't vote on the table.
yeah, we omitted doing the roll call.
Okay.
So,
Ted Hardin, we're doing roll call.
Okay, for table.
Okay, Ms. Johnson. Byrd,
Go ahead, table.
Carroll. Gaddy. And Johnson.
thank you, Justice Jackson. Next, we'll have Budget and Finance. It's Justice Jimmy Fisher.
Budget and Finance will now come to order. All standing members that are present are on the committees. Judge, we have 4 items on the agenda, of which the first 2 were passed on to Budget and Finance without any discussion, but there were motions made to pass it on. So at this time, a chair would entertain a motion to pass these on to the full court.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any discussions? Being that there's not any, all in favor? Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Judge, item number 3 is an appropriation ordinance to appropriate funds to the 2000 county road funds. What is the pleasures?
Motion to approve.
Move, we pass it on the full court with a due pass. I agree, second it.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions or discussions? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Judge, final item number 4, an appropriation ordinance to appropriate funds in Fund 4800 construction. These are no monies. This is monies that had already been budgeted, just the monies to carry out our financial obligations to the
Move, we pass that on to the full court with a due pass,
Second.
Mr. Chairman.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions?
Mr. Chair.
The chair recognizes Justice Carroll.
Was there something in the packet beyond the request to give us the information you just shared?
Say that again, Justice.
Was there anything in the packet to give us information beyond the request?
I believe there was some information, if you scroll down in our packet, it tells us about the construction that's going on. I believe it has to deal with this federal building with the courthouse, finishing up the south end of this building and the staircasing. I believe it, the other parts that had not been completed would be our clock, and there's some gutters or trimming that needs to be taken care of
That's in our packet.
in the building. Judge, would you would like to entertain response to that?
Was in the packet.
It's on that, yeah, that's it. That's all we have.
That was on the computer, in the email that was sent.
It's not on this, not on mine, it's not on this one.
So it's not in.
That's the information that I received on it first when at the beginning of this construction. I believe that was in that package.
So it's not in the email we got from Mr. Hammond.
No, it's not, but there's a print that if there's further information was needed, to contact our chief of staff, and she has all of that information that's necessary.
Mr. Chair, can I speak to that?
Chair recognizes judges.
The reason that we didn't put that you didn't see all of that, and we have that information in the office because when the job was first presented, all the details of what needed to be done was already in there. So I didn't feel like it would have been redundant to continue to put something in that was already in the total package of what we were doing in the courthouse. So Justice Carroll, that information is available. We just didn't put it in because it would be redundant because it's an ongoing project, and the money's already there.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Chair recognizes Justice Carroll.
if I can ask, just when did we initially approve that? How long ago was it?
Justice Carroll, I don't know the date and the time. You'd have to get with me on that.
I'm simply asking because you said that already been presented in its entirety, and I was just asking how long ago.
I don't remember. It was all in the scope of the job with Reynolds Construction.
Yeah.
Chair recognizes Justice Gaddy.
Would it be possible that your staff could give me a copy of that? Because I really don't remember pulling up this, give you a copy of that. Is that possible?
Not a problem.
Thank you.
If that being said, we're ready now for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Judge, that is my report.
Mr. Chairman, can I address the finance committee?
Yes, you may, Justice Carroll.
This is a correspondence I sent to, I think it sent to the justices back on May 30th. It says, just as I want this email to find you and those you love and the rest. I am asking you to join me in sponsoring an ordinance that will provide much needed mental health care for Jefferson County students impacted by COVID-19 pandemic. As you know, students all over America have been profoundly negatively impacted by the pandemic. Various media, school districts, and CDC reports have well documented the fact that American students have suffered greatly academically, mentally, emotionally, financially, and nutritionally during this extended COVID-19 pandemic crisis. The ills of this worldwide pandemic have the same impact on Jefferson County schools. Students miss critical in-person academic instruction provided by subject-specific, content-certified teachers. Students were forced into isolation from their friends, classmates, academic, and extracurricular interests. Many experienced prison-like isolation in their homes when family members contracted this deadly virus. And this correspondence goes on a couple more, but what I'm alluding to is I'm trying to get before you and ask you to join me in supporting an appropriation to ask the judge to appropriate $200,000 of the American Rescue Plan monies for a special project to provide mental health counseling to Jefferson County students. And I really would like you all to join me in sponsoring that piece of legislation. And thank you for this opportunity, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Justice Carroll. Judge, that's my report.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you, sir.
Whenever you got one, it's one thing about when you got one.